Hey everyone, INVADERONE here again with another instructional video guide on how to defeat Platinum difficulty. This time in the new map called Rio against the faction Geth. And I'm excited to bring you this video because we have a very unique group this time. And if you guys don't know it, IAMxSHADRACH has been the #1 player on the leaderboards for the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer game, and he has been there #1 for quite some time. And I decided to reach out to him and say, I told him what I was doing. I said, Shadrach, listen, I'm creating a few videos, some guides, and I told him I'm not doing speed runs yet. I know how to do them, but I wanted to, I wanted to continue creating videos that people can see how they can also manage platinum difficulty using intelligent tactics and methods and team builds. By working together through communication and just working intelligently and just creating tactics that will be able to work for them. So I told him that #1, this video cannot be a speed run. We could bring strong players, but we cannot do a speed run. It has to be, even if the game takes at least 30 minutes. That's a good game. That's a good platinum game. And the other thing is that we needed to employ very intelligent tactics for the objectives, and that's usually where people wipe. A lot of people are having difficulties on Rio right now. They can't make it past wave 6. They can't make it past wave 8, and they say, well, we defeated wave 6. We got what they call gold money, and then they're somewhat happy with it, and that's not good. We want to make sure that you're looking at platinum, you're handling it, you're defeating it, you're having a fun time doing it. It's not just about defeating it, but having a great time and just getting to completion. So Shadrach said that was great. He is totally fine, and as you guys ever played with him, he's such a great guy. Just really fun to play with, and definitely a team player. Likes to just work together and have fun. So let me talk a little bit about my build. I'm bringing a Quarian male infiltrator, and I'm using tac cloak for damage. I'm also using tactical scan, so I could slow down enemies. And I am also making sure that my arc grenades are piercing through shields. It's very important with the Quarian male that you do that, because my job in this game will be to strip down shields. And as you know, in platinum difficulty, you gotta have the highest fitness, and at the same time, you gotta have some way to strip enemy shields down. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Our team makeup has Demolisher that is bringing his pylon so that he could provide the team with extra grenades, extra ammo capacity, and at the same time, Shadrach decided to use the Quarian female infiltrator because, hey, she is actually very good. She's one of the base characters, and as you will see, she is still usable. She's still very good, even though they have nerfed the sabotage a little bit. We show you here that no, she's still a great character. You can use her on platinum, and she is not one of the New Earth characters. She is pretty much what we call old school. We also brought a soldier, the destroyer. If you guys know, the destroyer does not get stun locked. If you have him set up for good fitness and you put his devastator mode on, he is pretty much a tank. So what we're doing in this map right now, we're taking a little bit of a little campy strategy in the beginning. We're making sure we're doing two-man teams. Shadrach and our buddy here, Long Johns, is taking the left-hand side, and they're kind of covering any enemy that's coming from this side of the map. And this is kind of like the extraction area. We like this area because we figured if it gets too difficult towards extraction, it's really easy to do. We also have a tactic for extraction, by the way. We do not even hang out here. Now, as you will notice, I'm taking the right side, and my job is to pretty much strip down shields. Enemies come in, I am tactically cloaking. I am also, throwing grenades. I'm making sure I'm trying to get headshots as much as possible. I even brought in disruptor rounds. The entire team actually brought different ammo types, by the way, to enhance what they're doing. Like, for example, our destroyer, I believe he's using warp rounds. If you didn't know this, the warp rounds actually increase your weapon damage. They give you a big boost, and he is the soldier. He's bringing the typhoon, and he's bringing very powerful weapons to ensure that any of the big bosses that I have stripped their shields away, he can go right ahead and use his heavy weapons and just clean them out. And we're using teamwork here. It doesn't matter if I get the kill, he gets the kill. We're just, we're doing our jobs. I am stripping shields, and he is making sure that he is using his typhoon to hurt the enemy's armor as much as possible. And you notice that due to the fact that we have two-man teams on each side, we not only funnel enemies to us by managing the walkways in this manner, in this fashion, but at the same time we could do a little bit of crossfire and cover each other. As you can see, I am constantly looking at the left. I am using my tactical cloak to slow down enemies. I'm sorry, tactical scan to slow down enemies. If you guys did not know that, you could say your tactical scan to slow enemies down, which is what I did. That was my build. I also set it up so that the enemies take more weapon damage, since most of the time that I use the Quarian Infiltrator, I'm not using it with adepts. But if you have an all adept team for any other map, it is good to change it to power damage. In this situation, I set it up for weapon damage because I have my buddy here, my right, Darky, who's actually using the destroyer, the soldier, the new soldier, and I want to make sure that any enemy that I tac scan is affected. On the left hand side, Shadrach is actually using sabotage to ensure that any prime, any pyro, or enemies that come in are hacked so that they could actually hurt each other, which is very funny to see. I mean, even to this day, it is still, the Quarian female infiltrator is just still such a fun character to use. Just a little tip on the Quarian female infiltrator: the sabotage capability has a very extremely low recharge time, and the little tip with her is that in order to get that recharge time to go slower, you want to use tactical cloak first, and then tap on sabotage, so you can sabotage your enemy that way. What that does, it gives you the recharge speed of the tactical cloak instead, and not the recharge speed of the sabotage. If you just sabotage an enemy first, then your recharge speed is going to take forever, and you're not going to be as effective. So just a quick note that if you're using the Quarian female infiltrator, that is something that you definitely want to do. And as you can see here, things got a little troublesome on the right side. We got a lot of enemies, and what I'm doing is just making sure that I am stripping shields, I'm throwing my grenades, I'm doing the best that I can to make sure that big boss enemies that get through, their shields are down, and my buddy Darky can go right ahead and just, there you go, just rain hell on these larger enemies. I'm also making sure that I am taking cover. This spot that I am in here allows me to kind of have a lot of maneuverability. I can go back and forth and see if there are enemies coming in through the center. I also have the advantage because I can also aim at the center of the map. You see the little area, like a control room in the center of the map. Some of the enemies kind of like to get in there and try to get snipes on you and your buddies. So this is actually a really good vantage point for us because we're able to kind of get a good line of sight on the enemies. And another tip: if you get hit on platinum difficulty, you have to take cover. This is platinum, guys. It's not gold. It is even though gold is difficult, but if you get hit, pretty much two shots, many times two shots take you down. If you'll notice that I get hit by the prime quite a bit, and immediately the moment I get hit by the prime, I am backing out, taking cover, and making sure that I am not getting hit. Also, make sure you use your combat roles if you have human characters. If you're like me and you have a Quarian character that they do their little hop, just make sure that you're hopping left and right, that you're getting pretty much away from any missile that's coming at you, any shot that's coming at you. The other thing is that if you're using a demolisher, make sure that you have your arc grenades spec'd out for duration, that continues doing damage. That is very important. That's the way I also have it on my Quarian mail. I also have it set up to do damage to strip shields at the last evolution, which is the 6th rank, the 6th level upgrade. Now, check this out, guys. Normally, when you have targets eliminated, a lot of the times it's just fun to go right ahead and run over there, and everybody calls a missile. Because again, remember, guys, we are making sure that we are using our missiles effectively. Not any one person should be using all their missiles. We should always be calling it out, and at the same time, before, let's say if you are going to do this and you're just going to do it quickly and just run up, have the first person call the first missile. Make sure that you're intelligent about it. Say, hey, I got the first, and the other guy, I have the second, the other one, I have the third and the fourth. This way you're not kind of just kind of wasting missiles because two people shot a missile at once. In this situation, we decided, okay, well, let's show people that a lot of these enemies just pretty much they come to you. The AI has no choice but to come to you. So if you kind of want to wait them out, and if your team makeup is not as strong, and we wanted to kind of show you this, guys. Normally we would actually run out and do one missile each, and we don't all have to run out. One person will run out and get the missile, come back, and etc., etc. In this situation, though, we decided to show you, hey, you can actually stand back a little bit. Just make sure that the clock does not run out. And take out that first target as quickly as possible. So you can see we did so. We got a time bonus here, and we have more time to kill the second enemy. But as you can see, enemies, if you have targets eliminated, which is one of my favorite objectives, because you can finish up the wave really fast. You can either wait for them to come to you if your team makeup is just not as strong, and you want to make sure that everybody makes it through this wave. You can continue employing the same strategy, or you can have one guy move farther up, shoot the missile, and have the second person who is going to shoot the missile mid-range to make sure you cover him. So once the first guy finishes shooting his first missile, he can retreat back. You got to make sure you take your position back. That's very important. He can retreat back to his position, and then the second guy who's going to shoot the missile shoots his missile. Then the third guy, so forth and so forth, and like that, you finish all the targets and you're done. So as you can see in this situation, the third target, it's very far away. This is actually a very rich map, but we're having fun. We're actually taking out any target that comes to us, and we're also ensuring that by taking a little bit of a safer approach, we're actually getting more XP. We have more enemies coming to us. We're demolishing them, defeating them, and just killing them as they come. And as you can see, we still have quite a bit of time. We have a minute, which is more than enough time to be able to defeat whatever target is coming to us. Again, you can definitely missile these. Just make sure not one person is using more than one missile. As this is the early wave, which is wave 3. So and as you guys know from my other videos, you have to ration missiles. Missiles in platinum, they're like gold. You cannot waste them. Any missile that is wasted is just not a good thing, because anything can happen on platinum. You don't know if you're going to be the last person standing, and you have a mob of boss enemies coming at you. And that's just not a good thing. So as you can see, we're still funneling enemies in. We're having a great time. On the left hand side, SHADRACH is sabotaging everything that he can. The good thing about sabotage is that you also get a damage bonus when you shoot at them. If you set them up also to explode, that is also a great thing. So if the hacked enemy explodes after you do a lot of damage on them, well, the moment they explode, they do, I don't remember the exact stats, but you can look it up on the Quarian female. Just check the power evolution tree for sabotage, and it'll tell you right there what the damage bonus is and what the radius of it is. So as you can see here, we have a little less than a minute. The enemy AI is already bringing our next target to us, and again, remember, they come to you. They have no choice but to pretty much the enemy AI's objective is to kill you. So they have no choice but to come to you and hurt you. And if you noticed, when I looked over to the left, Shadrach had continued to hack that prime. That made it easier for us to target him. He's kind of locked up and frozen. The prime actually turned around and tried to shoot his own combat drone and try to shoot anybody behind him, which is just a lot of fun to see. I mean, in all honesty, I've seen atlases go at each other, and primes go at each other, which is it's just so funny to see, because watching these enemies turn on each other is just a lot of fun. So as you can see, we're employing the same strategy. We were pretty much finished we completed the objectives. Wave 3. This is gone pretty simple. We are covering each other on the right side. I'm making sure that my buddy Dark is fine. Dark is covering me also. If I go down for whatever reason, he makes sure that it is safe to get me up. And guys, this is very important. We always like to be helpful, and we definitely want to play as a team. And you see your buddy downed, you want to do everything to pick him up. Now, it is very important that when you are rezzing your friend, your buddy, you have to look and see what downed your friend, and if it is safe to revive your buddy, and make sure they have communication. Like, for example, I always ask what got you down, or what downed you, what is around you. And my buddy would say, oh, it's a pyro, because since we're so focused on getting headshots or damaging enemies, and I'm focused on stripping shields, I'm doing my job. I'm not exactly looking at the registry on the bottom right telling me who killed what and what got down by what. So I will ask, hey, what got you, who got you, what is around you. And if it's a situation like a pyro, you do not want to res your buddy right away. You tell him, hey, keep on tapping the A button and let me know when you're close. Take out the pyro, or take him out just enough, at least, that the pyro is staggered or shocked, and you can actually res your buddy. You can leapfrog back. You can do a combat roll if your character does it. If your character doesn't do a combat roll, just try to take out the enemy as quickly as possible, or distract the enemy. Have one of the other, if it's like a prime or a banshee. Especially a banshee, have somebody distract the banshee so that she's moving away from the buddy that you're trying to resurrect, and then have you or somebody else who's not near that enemy resurrect that your buddy, and then that'll make it easier. Like that, you're not rezzing somebody and then immediately get grabbed by a banshee. You do not want to resurrect somebody or revive somebody, and then all of a sudden the prime is right on top of them, stun locks them and kills them. Or the pyro is right next to them, and immediately you have to use another metagel to get up, and it's just not good. You got to play intelligently. Make sure that if you're rezzing a friend, do it in a very smart fashion. I know you want to help, but just make sure you do it intelligently. You see what's around him. You make sure that when you res him, he is actually strong enough to do a lot of damage and strong enough to play. Because remember, when you res somebody, the shields are not there. The shields have to reset themselves the moment you revive. So you're very vulnerable at that moment. So it's very important to make sure you have the communication and you tell each other what's going on. I will say this about the Geth. They are actually a fun faction to play against. I mean, it is always great to see it's always great to fight against big robots. I mean, that's always fun. But just always make sure that you are careful with the Prime's main gun, because it will stun the crap out of you. You will not be able to move, and if you do not get out of that stun lock as fast as possible, then it will be a problem. So again, we're going through these waves pretty easy, guys. If you noticed, I'm stripping shields. My buddy Darky over here is making sure he's got the power weapons. He is mowing down enemies, stripping them of their health and armor. I am stripping down shields on the left hand side. Shadrach is using the female Quarian Infiltrator, making sure that he is hacking everything, and also there's a bit of a damage bonus there, by the way. So look at Sabotage, have fun with it. Don't worry about the way Sabotage used to be. I mean, most of the players coming into, Mass Effect now don't even know how it used to be. Regardless, it is still a great power, and you can use it. You get so many bonuses with it. Once you get her, if right now Shadrach is using the Valiant. He only has the Valiant 3 right now. Which most of us pretty much that's what we have, either the Valiant 1, 2, or 3, and it's still a very good weapon and a good sniper rifle. If you don't have it, bring the Widow. Bring your Widow 10. Most people have the Widow 10. You've gotten those upgrades. Bring that Widow and focus on headshots. Make sure that when you spec your character's training, that you on the 5th evolution you spec her for headshot damage. So like that, you're focusing on headshots and you're getting a bonus there, and and enemies get down much quicker. Makes it a quicker game and a lot more fun. So. We also have the Demolisher on the left-hand side. He also brought very powerful weapons. I believe he brought the Typhoon. So he's making sure that even though Shadrach is mostly sniping, he's making sure he's got some heavy weapons to hit the Atlases with, to hit Banshees with, to hit the Primes with, and Brutes, guys. Because regardless of the fact that we set it to Geth, I mean, we're still going to get, as you can see, we still get Atlases. You're going to see the Banshees come in, and you see how we handle the Banshees. And again, you see how this is going. We're having a good time, and we're good. Now, we have a hack objective, so check this out, guys. This is actually very important. So, what we did in this situation, we brought 3 guys into the hack to make sure that the hack goes a little faster, because you really don't want just one person, just hanging out there. And our buddy Darky, who's the destroyer, went out to draw the enemies away. He's actually he's got a character that cannot get stun locked. So he is actually, what he's doing over there is making sure, hey, don't go towards the hack, come towards me. Look at me, leave them alone. So we 3 of us are here. We have our Demolisher who put his pylon down, is giving us bonuses, is resetting our shields. We're making sure we have cover. I got my grenades, stripping shields. If we need to get a grab, we'll get a grab, and we'll do what we need to do. Shadrach is also constantly sabotaging any Geth Prime or any Pyro that gets too close. And we're using our heavy weapons to do what we need to do, and sniping. As you will see, Darky got down. Obviously, it happens. But he was able to get back up. He uses 1 meta gel. Again, we're making sure that we all have as much gear as possible, and we're using it appropriately. He got himself back up only because he said, well, we need the hack to continue. And as you see, guys, look how fast the hack is going. You will see that Brutes are going over to Darky, Primes are going over to him. I mean, it is just so bad for him, but he is doing his job. He's making sure that, hey, we are being effective. We're getting rid of the hack. We're getting the bonuses, and at the same time, look at that. He deviated all those Brutes. He brought all the Brutes to him. Look at that. He's got another Prime coming to him, another Brute over there, and allows us to do a lot of crossfire. Sorry. And as he is doing so, we're making sure that we're weakening enemies down. We're sabotaging them. We're stripping shields. We're getting down to the armor, and we're just having a great time demolishing these guys. But as you can see, look how smooth this hacking objective has gone. Again, using intelligent tactics definitely works. You wanna have fun with the game. It's definitely possible to run and gun. You can do that, of course, but definitely be intelligent about how you handle each one of these objectives, and your team can be very effective. Look at this. This how clean this was. Most people fear the hacking objective, but here in this strategy, we employed 3 of us in the hacking objective, and 1 of us, the strongest one of us in the sense of health and shields, going out there to distract protect as much as possible. Now we start to get the banshees. Usually, as you guys have known, I've heard my strategy that when the banshees come in, we all focus fire. Now in this situation, three of us are mostly focusing fire on the banshees. Shadrach is employing a little bit of a different strategy since he has sabotage. He sabotages the enemies to get a damage bonus there, and at the same time, if it's a prime or anything like that, he is also making sure that he is sabotaging them so that they do damage to the banshee, or if there's a pyro next to the banshee, he'll hack them. So he's using that kind of tactic to make sure that he is doing his job, what he needs to do, and make sure that he is sabotaging. And look at the next banshee coming here. My job is to strip down shields. That's exactly what I'm doing, and making sure I am taking cover. Also making sure I'm looking at my flank, that nobody's flanking me, and like that I'm not getting downed while an enemy's here. Also very, very, very important, make sure you take your ground back. You see this area, this is our ground, and my side, we've taken this side of the map, and and we make sure that we take it back, so like that if we need to back up, we have somewhere to back up to. I have cover back here, we're working on the banshee while I have cover. Even if she does her nova, I can back up a little bit. I'm behind this crate, making sure I'm not getting crossfire from any enemy coming from my right side, and we're able to take down the banshee quickly and effectively. As you notice, when she is down, I'm going back, taking my ground. I am refilling with ammo, making sure I have arc grenades, strip shields. I'm checking out the center, I'm checking out the right, and my team on the left is calling anything out. If they need help, they will definitely say it. Hey, we need help. And we're also calling out anything in the center, because sometimes we can't, we're not sure if there's any, we might get a phantom there when we just didn't see her. She cloaked or something like that. And if there's something in the center, whoever has the best shot at it kind of goes at it. In this situation, as you can see, what I do is I start stripping shields on the banshees if she's coming from my side. I am shooting, cloaking to make sure that I have a damage bonus, but then I'm backing up a little bit, and because if she's going to do her warp, I want to make sure that I have cover. I can actually take cover under the ammo crate right here on the right side, or I can back up where you guys have been seeing me do, go back. There's kind of like a there is a cover right at the back. I'm forgetting what to call it, but there's this cover behind me as you see me employ. Look at this situation, stripping shields. I have disrupt around, so even as I shoot at her barriers are going down. I'm heading back and I'm taking cover here. I got my back against the wall, making sure that I have cover. Her warp goes at me and she cannot touch me. I'm cloaking, taking my ground back, making sure everything's clean. We're not just running into trouble. And look how clean that was. We took out the banshee, we called her out, we focused fire. Even though we got Shadrach on the left and he's using sabotage, and we have Demolisher on the left. We're all calling it out. We're using crossfire tactics. We're making sure that we are calling out enemies and holding our ground. Anytime that the banshee comes in and she takes a little bit of ground away from us, we go back and take it. So we push forward, and still at the same time making sure that we're doing this effectively. And as you can see in this situation, we're getting more and more enemies coming at us. Now, if you do not want to use an assault rifle for this situation, you could definitely use snipers. I know back in the day, a lot of people were Widow users. I could imagine that this would be a lot of fun with a lot of Widows, sniper rifles, or, if you want to challenge yourself, use the Mantis for fun. Believe it or not, it's the base gun that you get, and it's still very, very powerful. Believe it or not, you put a damage bonus enhancer on it, and it works. So anyways, as you can see, we call out the banshees always. She's on the left, banshee on the left, we call her out. Banshee on the right, we call her out. And my job, strip down shields. And the Demolisher also. The Demolisher has arc grenades and homing grenades. By the way, you want to use arc grenades first on enemies because they strip shields. And once their shields are down, then you want to use homing grenades. So in case at any moment that you have a situation where so I'm sorry, so let me reiterate that a little better. So if you have a situation where you're using the Demolisher you want to make sure that you're using your arc grenades first to strip down shields, and then use your homing grenades once the enemy is down to armor or health. So if you're using the demolisher, make sure that your primary job is going to be to take down shields first and then take out armor with the homing grenades, because you can set the homing grenades to have some kind of fire effect, and at the same time, do a lot of damage to an enemy's health and armor. So as you can see, we're still working it. We're making sure that if we lose any ground, we still take it. When we see any banshees, we're all calling it out, and we're making sure that we're all focusing fire on her, removing her out of the equation entirely. Sometimes we will get more than one banshee, and that is okay. If we need to focus as much fire as possible, and then we will do it. If you have two of them, make sure that you're continuously targeting the one that is the weakest, so like that you finish her out as quickly as possible. And as you notice, Darky and I are making sure that we still have our spot, even though that Shadrach and Long John's on the left hand side, they have a banshee there. We're not just running over there to get closer. We're still covering our spot on the right side. We're still making sure that we're covering any enemies that comes like that. We do not get flanked. So if we're all fighting the banshee and and Darky and I decide to push to the left to the position that Shadrach and Long John's own, and the enemy comes through our area, we're gonna get overrun and overwhelmed. So that's also something to pay attention to. It's very important that you keep your ground covered, that you take your ground back, that you come back to it and make sure that you're covering it, because enemies will need to have their shield stripped. You'll have to make sure you are covered, that you don't get overrun. And this is, believe it or not, this might seem simple, but a lot of people make this mistake. You see the banshee and everybody, oh my god, you get fearful. Let's take her out as quickly as possible. So everybody just runs to the banshee, and then the banshee will do her Nova yell. She'll start yelling and doing her Nova, and everybody gets affected and hurt, and next thing you know, the entire team is going down, and then the smaller mobs of enemies start coming in and doing a lot of damage on us. But as you can see, we're covering each other here. If one of us goes down, we're right next to each other and say, "Hey, buddy, I got you going. Don't worry." I wanted to talk a little bit more about ammo types just quickly. And this match, I said that we're all using kind of different ammo types. My buddy Darky is using warp rounds. He's making sure that he gets more weapon damage bonus. Warp rounds are really good against armor, by the way, and they increase your weapon damage. Also, I am using Disruptor rounds 3. That is to ensure that my job is literally everything that I'm doing is stripping down shields. I'm not worried about the kills. I'm not worried about, hey, if I'm gonna finish her off or not. We're all working as a team, as a unit. My job is to make sure I am stripping down shields, whether it be by shooting arc grenades or by making sure that I am, that I'm shooting the enemy as fast as I can with my disruptor rounds to strip shields. Notice how our Darky and I are able to get each other, res each other. We're also going back and forth. When I see that I can take my ground back, I push back forward. When the banshees are coming in, I'm making sure that I'm using tactical scan. Tactical scan definitely slows enemies down. So here we go. We got another situation, another banshee, and I'm making sure that I'm getting some grenades, cleaning it out. And in this situation, by the way, we did have a scenario where I kept on running out of grenades. I had to use some of my ammo packs. If you have a situation like this kind of setup, then you can go back and forth between the pylon that the demolisher set down, and you see that I'm going over here to the left hand side to where Shadrach and Long John's are, but it's not to take their position. It's not to stay with them. It's just literally just to use the grenades that they have, because they already have a pylon. So they are actually okay. They have no problem with grenades. And my buddy Darky and I are making sure that we're also calling out the ammo cache that's on our right side, because he wanted to make sure that I have as many grenades as I could have. So like that, I am stripping down shields so that he could kind of clean them out with his Typhoon and just finish down the enemies and mow them down. The other thing about Phantoms, guys, Phantoms, they always had this ability to kind of be invulnerable to tech and biotic powers when when they have this field around them. You just before we weren't able to see it. They actually did a great job, BioWare, on updating that. So now you actually see her like a protective bubble over her when she is doing this. The only kind of damage that she can take at that point in time is weapon damage. So if you see her do that, she kind of crouches down a little bit. Make sure that you're doing a lot of weapon damage, grenades or anything like that. But biotics will not work on her at that moment, or tech powers. So in this moment, we have the Escort. In this situation, it's very important that everybody has missiles, because what you're going to want to do is cover each other as much as possible. But when the Banshee gets too close, right in the center, we are immediately shooting out a missile. Now, it's very important, guys, that this could have gone a little smoother, but I think either I myself or one of the other buddies, we didn't call out the missile. We called it, and it was just too fast, because when we were doing this video, it was actually yesterday, and it was they actually did the update on the missiles that they now shoot faster. So we're still, getting used to the fact that now when you hold the trigger, the missile shoots out immediately. Before, there was a delay; you had to kind of wait a little bit, and the missile would shoot. That could, in all honesty, I like the update that they made, because before, that little delay could get you killed or picked up by a Banshee. So in this situation, you see that we got the Escort going. If I need to throw grenades, I would throw grenades to strip shields or hurt little mobs. You see what SHADRACH is doing? Also, he's making sure he's taking cover with the objective. And as you saw some of my other videos, when we do the Escort objective, especially the one in Tuchanka, you see that our buddies, we're taking cover as we're pulling the objective. We're going against the rail, we're going against the barricade. As long as the objective is still, our body is still within the objective, the Escort, it will continue moving as long as there's somebody in there. But it's better to do it with everyone, so like that you're able to do it together and it goes faster. And we work as a unit, and we all have our missiles, our rockets ready. And as you've already noticed, we all have a lot of rockets. I mean, we've managed to conserve our ammo, conserve our gear, and we have a lot of metagels. We're good to go. As you can see here, we did the Escort mission, and it was not much of a problem at all. And again, by the way, guys, when you're using the missile and the Banshee comes, wait till she's literally right, almost within the Escort circle. I mean, not too close enough that she has picked up anybody, but close enough that you're able to shoot the missile. And I'll tell you why. The moment that you shoot the missile, she is actually gonna get respawned immediately on another side of the map until the objective is complete. She will continue respawning. So you want to make sure that you don't shoot that missile until she is very close to you. Like that, you don't have the situation where you shoot the missile from really far away, you kill the Banshee, and immediately another one respawns, and then you're overwhelmed. And what will happen is that you go through your missiles very fast, and you're just not being as effective. Check this out, guys. Once we are done, we take our respective positions, we take our ground back. Remember, this is, if we talk about military tactics, you want to make sure that you always cover your ground and you keep your ground covered. And guys, check this out. This is extraction. I wanted to show you guys, this is wave 10, and now we're going to wave 11. What we did is we left one enemy alone. This is very important. Extraction is always right where we're at, so this is a great strategy that you can do, and you will see how clean this was for us. What we did is we left one enemy alone. After on wave 10, we finished the objective, we killed everything that we could, and we left, we have two enemies alone. We knew that there were a few left. We went all the way to the other side of the map this time, and we took out, the last stragglers. We finished the wave, and we were hanging out over here. We were making sure that, we're getting our ammo, we're getting set up, and we're kind of hanging out at the back. We have a lot of space here to kind of hide or take cover. And what we're doing is we have 2 minutes on the clock, and we forced the enemies to spawn back where we were at. by the extraction area or by the center of the map. And we're pretty much just hanging out, getting a few shots out. If you want to use a missile, that's fine. And just make sure you always have at least 1 to 2 missiles, when you're about to go to extraction. So if something goes really wrong, you can go right ahead and use the missile to clean up the house. And as you notice, we're pretty much just hanging out a little bit. We're shooting a few enemies, but we're not doing much. And right now, we start to like a minute and 15 seconds. We say, okay, it's time to head back. You want to make sure you have enough time this time. This is not 30 seconds, not 45 seconds. You want at least a minute. So now that all the enemies are right behind us, they've kind of all went all the way to the other side of the map. We run back towards extraction. And look at this, guys. Look how clean this is. Now we still have enough time, 50 seconds is still good. We're getting set up, my buddy. And this is why you want to do it in a minute, because, if you have a demolisher, he has his time to set up his, pylon. I'm getting set up, and as you see, Shadrach is a little bit halfway out. He's making sure that he is doing his job of sabotaging any enemies that get close. So like that, the enemies, are kind of fighting with each other and still delaying, their approach. And we have our missiles ready in case we need to call it, because it's still, still a little early. We still have 15 seconds to go. And at this point in time, we called out a missile just to make sure that, we can make it to extraction. And we have the last few seconds. It's pretty clean, and we get a full extraction. And guys, I hope you enjoyed that last part, because that was actually very brilliant. Make sure that in Wave 10, if you're hanging out at this area, you make sure that you take out every single enemy. But when you get that icon for the last enemy, leave that enemy alone. Everybody just go to the other side of the map. Make sure that you finish the enemy on that side. You force the rest of the troopers to kind of spawn by extraction, and they come to you. You make sure that they're pretty much all by you, and what that allows you to do is to do a dash and run. Once we weaken the enemies a little bit, you don't even have to really fight them much. Have fun and fight them a little bit. Again, it's just giving you some safer tactics and strategies. Once you get to a minute, you want to make sure that you're running back out, taking your positions, doing a little cover, making sure you're throwing grenades, and you're able to get a full extraction. As you can see, guys, we did our jobs. Shadrach, good job on top of the board. He's definitely doing a great job of doing the sabotage. And as you can see, all our medals, we were definitely doing a lot of assists, getting a lot of kills, and we were just still having a good time. Again, it's a safer strategy. We can definitely do this much faster, but I want to make sure that the community knows how to intelligently take out Rio with smarter tactics. Guys, this has been absolutely fun and great. And Shadrach, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Long Johns and Darky, for doing this video with me, and I'm pretty sure the community is going to be so grateful for it.